Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 87 of the Own the Moment podcast. My name is TJ Lasig. I'm one of the co-founders here at OTM, and we are back for another live edition of the Owners Club Strategy Show. We've got a lot going on here. We just released a new marketplace, went live earlier today, got a little giveaway special running there. We've got some madness going on in the NFL right now. Justin, Bach, lots to break down.
It's busy. It's exhausting. Just the amount of COVID stuff going around the league. We already knew injuries were coming up. I'm excited because we get 3 games before lock this week. We got Thursday, we get Saturday. We obviously get our full slate of Sunday. We've got no buys. This is supposed to be the best part of the season. So I'm pretty stoked overall, but we've got some landmines that we need to avoid with our lineups this week.
Yeah, and I think the crazy part is what are we not going to know on Thursday, Friday, Saturday? We're going to find out on Sunday. I know we'll talk a little bit, Justin, as we get into how a strategic approach for this week. But the points you see from Thursday and Saturday become potentially even more valuable this week because there's that incremental risk of the Sunday points. I mean, I'm playing some NBA DFS still, and it's just every 5 minutes it's there's an update. Some players been ruled out. Just insanity right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, most of the podcasts that I was listening to throughout the week, it's halfway through the podcast they're up, also add this person to the list, up, another one pops up. So it's 8:30 at night. We'll see if any of them pop up on the list during our show. But fingers crossed that Cooper Kupp can survive because it seems like everyone else around him is going down.
Going to be an interesting week for sure. We've also going to be going through the Week 17 payout structures today. I know people have been eagerly awaiting that, so we're going to roll that out. We've got across the main event online final and the side hustle online final, $150K worth of prizes. 500 people paying out in both contests too. So pumped to show everyone that. Going to review week 14, talk through all the stuff heading into this weekend. And the other big thing is we not only have a Thursday night game this week, but we also have 2 games on Saturday. So could be an interesting one heading into lineup lock on Sunday. All right, let's start with a little marketplace action. So if you now head on over to the site and go to the marketplace, we have added a table view to the desktop version. And so what this does is kind of nicely lay out all of the lowest asks for each of the cards. You can then filter by the projections. I think not sure if the projections are quite updated yet, but working on it, and see all of the low asks. And then for any of the cards also, over on the right here, you can click into them to see more. And then in one view, you can see here all of the Minnesota wide receivers that are for sale, the serial numbers, the price in both ETH and USD. So good stuff. Shout out to Denzel from the team that put this together. I think it's going to be pretty helpful for people.
It's very clean. I like it a lot. And I think I like where, hey, if you're on mobile, you still kind of use that classic version. It's a little better when you're kind of just scrolling and flipping through. But if you are on desktop and you want to do a bit more of the kind of analysis stuff, you really want to prep for where the values are. I think this structure in this format is far more appealing to kind of the analytics side of things.
We love our analytics here at OTM. And in honor of this marketplace going live, in honor of the 3 games that we have ahead of Sunday this week, we are going to be running a special from now until 9 a.m. on Sunday, where every single marketplace purchase that you make, you will get your name onto a giveaway wheel. And we've got some fun specific cards that we're going to be giving away on the wheel. So I know that we've got a number 34, serial 34, New England running back. We've got a combination Buffalo quarterback wide receiver stack. So I think that's fun. You have a chance to win the 2-for-1. Same with the Cincy stack. And I think we'll likely end up with some high scorers from the Thursday and Saturday games, and we're going to throw them into the giveaway as well. So good chance.
Can you sort by Buffalo here? Let's see. What's the low ask of that Buffalo stack right now? I know, let's see. Buff QB, we got it 100. Wide receiver, 81. Yeah, that's a nice little stack to get there. Nice giveaway. And I'm still bullish on them through the playoffs and such. So I think that would be a great QB wide receiver probably to play throughout the playoffs, especially, if the public's kind of off of them, might actually be a little contrarian.
Yeah, it's definitely a valuable card, potentially heading into the playoffs, and then also for the Week 17 contest. Because, Justin, I heard that we're going to have a lot of contests on Week 17. Is this correct?
There's going to be 3 contests. There's going to be a lot of payouts, though. So that's for sure. Should we talk through the payouts?
Let's do it. Do it. So first, to tee up what we have Week 17. So Week 17 is finals week. We, of course, have the live final in Miami, but then we also have the 2 online finals for the main event and for the side hustle, where we're giving away our biggest prizes of the season. And here's our payout structure. Justin, talk it through.
Yeah, I like it. So first off, was doing some estimates and stuff, and I believe we're going to have around 3,000 entries into people qualifying for both the main event and the side hustle. I think main event's going to be just below maybe 2,900, 3,000. Side hustle might be a little higher, around like 3,200 or so. Now, how many of those entries actually get filled? I think we'll see there. I was kind of assuming something around like an 80 to 90% completion rate. Maybe there are a few people who were early on and and now aren't as active. Maybe there's a few people who have so many entries that they just don't have as many cards to even fulfill them. I'm sure some people will just kind of forget, maybe have a rough Saturday night that night as well. But if you assume there's something, maybe there's something around like, I don't know, 2,700 entries in this, we wanted to pay a large amount. So we're getting to almost 20% with 500 entries being paid. And given that some majority of people are going to have 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, like pretty decent chance of having multiple entries cash in this. So that was our first goal. And the second is always want to have like a decent, amount up top without it being crazy top heavy. We see some like the DFS tournaments and stuff that have huge jumps between like that first and second. That's not what we want. Hey, if you end up finishing first, second, third, fourth, fifth, you're pretty happy with what you get. You're getting over $1,000 for both these contests. So that's kind of a pretty exciting where we landed. Pretty excited, pretty happy with where we landed with these payouts. All that said, I would love to hear some feedback, because if people, and we were kind of talking about this, and there was some amazing feedback going on over the past kind of 48 hours. And I think TJ, we may even do a survey in the next day or so. But overall, would love to just hear, hey, and people in chat, like, does this look good? Would you rather fewer people paid out? Would you rather more money up top? We're always taking feedback, and that feedback will definitely come into play when we think of future contest payouts.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say for me, coming from the ridiculous, like, if you don't get first, why did you even play tournaments and a lot of the DFS stuff? It's really nice. Stogie wants $1 million to first. Yeah, I get that, Stogie. Go find.
I bet you do want that. I bet you do want that.
Sorry,
I think that if I was you.
Stogie is saying he is donating $1 million to first.
Yes, there we go.
You heard it here first. Sergeant Stogie is donating $1 million to first for both the main event and side hustle, right? Okay.
Yeah. But I personally would love to be able to play contests like this with this payout. You won't let me. So, I'll just continue to be salty about it. But I love this type of payout where still a substantial prize pool if you get first. But if you get second or third, it's not like you're staring at this massive cliff that, why'd you even bother?
Yeah, no, I like it. But then again, I also reviewed it with you before we decided it. So it makes sense that you were aligned to this. So.
Well, sure.
Thanks.
Here we have it. Week 17. Coming
but
up.
Chat seems like they're liking it. Chris Adams looks beautiful, but he might be talking about the marketplace. But we got Tot saying he likes it now. DJ Locals, great distribution. So that's always positive. But yeah, no, we are always appreciative of feedback and such. So if there are any, feel free, obviously, to bring it up in chat or send a DM or anything like that.
Shout out to the chat. Also, like Justin said, shout out to everyone in the Discord that was giving feedback. I guess I kind of buried the lead too on forgetting about yesterday's announcement, and we should probably talk about that on this podcast, at least briefly too. So for those of you that maybe missed it, hopefully everyone saw it in Discord. In our email, we sent out some more information about the first edition cards heading forward. And so what we have said is that we're going to have the weekly OGs contest. It's going to be a rotating format, largely favoring contests where the highest score wins. Maybe like mix in 1 or 2 low balls, but mostly high scoring cards. And then we're also going to be implementing the ability to burn cards that will then earn certain rewards, maybe some potential free packs in the future or access to pre-sales, things of that nature. And then, of course, you'll get continued access to the giveaways by holding these first series cards. And then what we said is a couple other things that we're kicking around. And I said in the note, but I think we're all on the same page, and we want to make sure that we have good ideas planned for the first edition cards, and all of the cards, honestly, have value over time and have different aspects of utility, but we don't want to commit to too many things too early. So we're messing around with some things like a captain multiplier and some other fun game types. Well, we're going to have something for the people, Justin. I can guarantee that.
Oh yeah, no, and end of the day, it was nice to kind of give a bit of a roadmap, bit of transparency into it all, but there's a lot behind the scenes as well that we're excited for going on over the next few weeks, months, and even longer.
Oh yeah. Football season might be coming to an end, but we're just getting started. All right, let's talk about last week quickly here. We have the highest and lowest scores. Buffalo QB always finding its way towards the top. I feel like every week now it's like Buffalo quarterback in the first spot with some massive scores. Anything that stood out to you guys this week?
I'm laughing at Stogie's comment if you want to read it real quick, and then you can give an answer.
Stogie's question is the first edition verbiage purposeful? Like Wise have to? Yes, that is purposeful. We are calling them our first edition cards. So yes, we like that. We think it sounds cool and like really makes it. And we're not even necessarily saying like second edition, third edition. To us, like these are the first edition cards, and then we continue to have new cards on top of that each season going forward.
Yeah, and I think why it was so important to kind of call these first edition, especially as well to begin with. Owners Club is not just going to be one sport. So I didn't want to use series like Top Shot. Didn't even want to use season because season can imply different things. And maybe you have different years, different seasons and stuff. But only thing we know with 100% certainty is these are the first edition overall. And so beyond that, we'll see what we start calling with regards to per year, per sport. And we'll figure it out. But we definitely wanted to be clear that, hey, these cards are the first edition.
Yep. All right, here we go. What are we seeing? Kansas City tight end at the top too. Shocker. That's really been hot lately too.
Wait, what?
No. Kansas City running back near the top.
My bad. I meant to say Kittle. I meant to say
San Francisco.
How Kittle has been crushing it lately. Yeah, my bad. I don't know why.
Last 2 weeks he's gone 150 plus yards off, and I think a lot of it has to do with no Elijah Mitchell back there. So Debo's playing a bit more of a kind of a, running back role, even in sometimes more of a traditional running back. So that allows for them, a little more opened up and maybe makes more need to actually use Kittle in the passing game. So we've seen that connection, and that's been very, very, unexpected after what we saw earlier in the season. But like we know he has that talent, and he's probably the best tight end in the league. So we'll see. They have a very friendly, very favorable schedule throughout the regular season fantasy playoffs. So the next few weeks. So that's probably a card that's very valuable to have.
Yeah, I think that card, coming into the season, we would have said, that San Francisco tight end card was the first or second or, probably the second or third best card out there. I think why it's been unexpected recently is just because they haven't been throwing the ball at all, right? It's not, Kittle's production has largely been a function of how little they've thrown the ball, and they've increased that dramatically. Like, will that continue? To your point, a lot of running back injuries driving that, but definitely something, that if it continues, this card's going to be in play every week.
Yeah.
There are only 6 San Francisco tight ends for sale on the marketplace.
Now, on the scoring on the bottom right-hand side, if you scroll down there, so, you were looking, his highest is 15 week 9 and then goes to 13 and 14 is 30 and 21. It'd be a cool feature is if we had the next weeks of who their opponents were, just making a note.
That would be good. That would be a
cool
good
little feature. But they have a very, very friendly schedule. So we'll keep an eye on this card. And I think people who have it, it took a while to get it to pay off, but it's paying off now.
Yeah. I think, for me, the most interesting thing when I looked just at the top scores this week was the completely solo Josh Allen and Buffalo QB at the top and not another Buffalo card on the page. And, there's not many quarterbacks that are ever going to be on this page without their pass catchers, being right up there with them. But Josh Allen is the one where you can do it. And unsurprisingly, like, not many people played it that way. Because it's hard to talk yourself into hitting on 5 distinct positions versus hitting on, a correlated quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end. But Josh Allen's probably the guy who you could do it with. And despite being the highest scoring quarterback, wasn't on the winning teams because the correlation with the pass catchers was just kind of non-existent this past week.
Yeah. Okay. But if you did what we talked about, the side hustle, and you played Buffalo QB with Tampa wide receivers because of that stack and getting the kind of game script, let's see, would that have won the side hustle? It would have been pretty close.
A few people did. They Buffalo got 25th.
Okay.
Yeah. So the winner was actually the one person who played the Chiefs running back and the Rams wide receiver. So good on you for getting to that. And then lots of Buffalo QB, LA wide receivers.
Yeah, that Chiefs running back was pretty crazy. Well done there.
And then shout out to Ryan Judge, of course, the main event winner for this week. Also, the score is wrong in this graphic for the record. I was trying to figure that out. They actually scored 41.3.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so Ryan Judge, shout out.
Yeah, congratulations. And then we got Kraken there, who's a familiar name as well. We got one of your friends, DJ. Good old
Shout out, Brett.
There you go. Yeah. Now it was a fun week, and remember when we started the week off, it was Minnesota running backs, and so we end up seeing we got 4 in the top 10 there, and then a lot of late points as well. Defense was pretty crazy. Titans got a shutout, so getting 26 up there against Jacksonville was helped a lot of people. Fun week.
High scoring defensive week. A few different teams that put up 27 from the Chiefs. Again, kind of solo winner in the Island of Misfit cards for Big Mo by playing the Chiefs defense with San Francisco tight end. Lots of other people playing either the Titans or not lots, but a few other people playing either Titans or Cowboys who both fell 1 point short. So the edges are thin in that contest. And, the Chiefs had gotten 25. It would have taken an 11 serial to take down the Island of Misfit cards. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, 48.1 is definitely one of the higher Island of Misfits we've had. Probably not the highest because some of those maybe, Gronk days or something when the tight ends put up a few more points, but that's up there.
Shout out Ace John.
We got a few. We got
Waz?
a few.
We got Waz?
A lot of recognizable names there. What do we have for the low ball? All right, we got 16 and 22 this time. A little bit higher than that.
Good separation from the field here. 6-point win in the low ball.
Yeah, that was a strong team. But compared to last week, what won? 5? Yeah, that was insane.
Well, I know the pains of this Jacksonville running back because in my freaking season-long league, I got James Robinson. And now he's terrible. And the whole time, I've been looking forward to the fact that this week in the playoffs, he's got a matchup against Houston. So I'm like, great spot. But can you even he fumbles, so Urban Meyer benches him? Like, what is this, high school? It's outrageous. Anyway,
I mean, Urban Meyer goes in the games.
Just the best.
Urban Meyer goes in the game saying, we definitely need to run more. I mean, when you got a running back like James Robinson, I'm going to run it. And then he had like 6 touches or something. I mean,
literally.
The entire team's a racket. Is there a worse game? I mean, I think Jacksonville is actually favored in that game purely because Vegas knows that like Houston's smarter and they'll probably lose on purpose. Like Urban wants to actually win because he needs to get a win. I'm convinced that's the only reason Jacksonville's actually favored, because I think the Houston team, I'm not going to say they're a good or a decent team, but they're not Jacksonville bad.
You think that Houston team's better than Jacksonville?
Yes.
Man, I think that's true, except at the quarterback position, which obviously matters a lot, right? I think at quarterback, I think Jacksonville is materially better. I mean, Davis Mills is like comical.
Do you know how many touchdowns Trevor Lawrence has in the past? I think the stats like 6 weeks.
I'm sure it's a tiny number. I'm sure you're going to tell me a number that's like insultingly low, and that's not going to change my opinion in a material way here. I mean, it's Davis Mills. Come on.
It's Jacksonville and Urban Meyer, and like that offense is horrible.
I'm not saying he's good, and I'm certainly not saying he's good, but he's not Davis Mills.
Yeah,
these are the high level discussions that you really the important debates that need to be had right here. So
Carl telling me Davis Mills actually hasn't been bad. Carl, I disagree, but
all right. Chat, put it in chat. I need a J for Jacksonville or an H for Houston. We're settling this once. Who is actually the better team?
Coop wants a side bet. What can we possibly side bet on here?
How can we side bet? I think that Jacksonville wins because they're so dumb, and Urban Meyer needs that win just to, like, I don't know, show his wife that he still has value. Something like.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, after what he did at the bar, he needs a win. And I mean, like, in all facets of his life, he needs a win.
He needs a win. You know who else needs a win? The people of the Owners Club. Who's going to be the big plays for this coming week? All right, so first off, yes, this is where transitioning is next week. We've got the 3 games. I think we should do a little deep dive into what we expect to happen Thursday and Saturday. Is this do we have this for the next 2 weeks, the Saturday games? We do, correct?
Yeah, we do. And then week 17, everything starts on Sunday at 1.
Right.
Wait, week 17 or week 18? Week 18.
Week 17. Our finals week, everything starts at 1 p.m. There's no Thursday or Saturday games for finals week.
Yeah.
So we get a 14-game slate for the live final and the full 16 for the online finals, but no early information.
Right, because they don't have those games.
And so, live finals, you said, is 14. Live finals does not include Monday night or Sunday evening. Night. The online finals include everything. Correct. I guess. Okay, so the reason why week 17 they don't have the Saturday games is because that's when the, I think, semifinals for the college football games are. So that's why they didn't want to clash with that. And then for week 18, which historically is week 17, they try to get as many of the games that are in the same conference and stuff, especially same division, but I think even same conference at the same times. So then one team doesn't like have more information based off what happens with someone else with regards to like playoffs advancing and stuff.
I think both of those are correct.
There we have it. All right. So we've got Kansas City versus the Chargers. We've got the Raiders versus the Browns and the Patriots versus the Colts. So we've got some solid cards in play here. You've got the Indy running back. You've obviously got all of the Chiefs players. You got the could be a lot of action these games.
I mean it's Oh, sorry, Justin. Yeah, I'll just say quickly. It's another week where like the highest total game is 5 clear of the next highest total game on the slate, and that's the Thursday night game, right? So just going off of like raw point projections and Vegas totals, there's going to be a ton of value in that Thursday night game. Those teams are obviously already going to be highly owned, Kansas City and the Thunder Horsies. But we're going to know going into it whether or not you're going to want to play those. And then when you've got, I think, the 7th highest total game on the slate, or the 6th highest, tied for the 6th highest total game on the slate with New England and Indy, and then the lowest total game on the slate with Cleveland and Las Vegas. So lots of things could be interesting.
Low ball possibilities.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like I know the game tomorrow night, highest scoring, highest over under 52.5. 5 of the Chiefs' last 7 games, they kept their opponent to single-digit score. The other 2, it was only 17 and 14 points. Like, the Chiefs have turned into a strong, strong defensive team. I personally believe that, like, that 52.5 is a bit high, and I think it's going to be a game that goes under. I think there's going to be a bit stronger defenses than kind of we think of when we think of a high-powered Chargers, high-powered Chiefs offense. from an actual, what does that make you want to do with regards to owners club? Not much, really. Just wait and watch and see. But that's at least how, if I was throwing a couple shackles on the game, I think the under, and I think that these are two strong defenses. The next is the implications from a couple of the games this weekend, even these early games, so the playoff stuff is substantial. Someone in chat, I guess it was Carl, was talking about how that Pats Colts game is interesting. I mean, if the Pats win this, they are heavily favored to get the bye. I'm going on 538 right now. So if the Pats win, they become a 68% favorite to get that bye. And the Colts are now on the outside of the playoffs looking in. If the Colts can get the win, which would be a pretty substantial win for them, they're now 87% to make the playoffs, which that's a lot of movement for some cards. I mean, possibly the most valuable running back card we've seen this year. So for people thinking about the playoffs, I'd keep an eye on the games this weekend, keep an eye on the games in that 538, and kind of just for prepping and planning for the playoffs.
And the Colts are favored by 2.5 in this game. I think is what I saw. So,
and they're home.
Surprising. They're home, so that basically means Vegas has it as a coin flip on a neutral site, but still surprising to me that they're favored in that game. Gives them a decent chance.
I think Colts are 6-2 in their last 8. They've been playing very well ever since basically Carson Wentz has shown he's healthy, and then just riding Jonathan Taylor. That combined with a strong defense, that's a recipe for success.
Yeah, and I see the comment from Carl in the chat about KCDST is all on COVID. We kind of talked a little bit about this going into in the intro to the show, but there's just going to be so much value in knowing the points that are scored from Thursday and Saturday when you're looking at lineup decision Sunday, assuming things continue on a COVID trajectory like they have the last couple of days, where every hour there's new super impactful news. Knowing what the points are becomes even more valuable for all of your contests. Justin, does Case Keenum make the Cleveland quarterback card better?
No, it does not make it better, but it's probably not a huge drop off from Baker Mayfield, who's been hurt all season and just kind of fighting through it. I think the rest of the team being out makes Cleveland just a train wreck. And I put out a tweet a couple of days ago that I thought Nick Chubb was going to be the white knight of the playoffs, coming in and saving the teams that were able to make it to their fantasy playoffs, the best of all playoffs with him. Because without Kareem Hunt, with a great schedule upcoming against Las Vegas, going against Pittsburgh, who just got demolished by both Dalvin Cook and someone else a week or two before. But now, there's just no one on that team. So it's basically I think it's just going to be a rough, very slow game. That's why Vegas has it with such a low total. I don't know. I think Hunter Renfrow ends up eating, because I think even the Browns slot corner is out. I don't know. I think it's just going to be an ugly game. Everyone's out.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild. And then, I mean, I feel like so much is still up in the air for Sunday. Quite a few questions mark with some teams that, not necessarily all top-notch players, but it still has impact. So it's going to be an interesting weekend of news.
Because Monday night, people with Tyler Higbee, you thought you were going to have a Rams tight end going into Monday night, and then he's out, and you've got no backup option. And so I'm sure there's some. That's kind of what Bach was talking about. That'll probably happen with some players. Now, Sunday's usually not as bad because they don't do COVID testing on Sunday. It's very nice of them to take that day off. And instead, I think they do them Saturday and maybe Monday. So maybe you don't see that much last minute ones, but I don't know. I think over the next couple of days, we're still going to get a couple more surprises, things that'll, flip the slate on its head, as they say.
All right. Are we doing a projections walkthrough this week, or what?
Yeah, let's pop it up there. We've got kind of the same Excel. Now I hadn't figured out how to use the fancy new marketplace yet to do this walkthrough. So that'll be
we can do it
from
next
you
time
this week. But we can throw up. We've just got our same kind of Excel, and we'll just walk through quickly.
Let's do it.
You know, some values. So we've got it pulled up. If you guys can see, I'll zoom in a little. So starting at quarterback, you know, here's kind of the weekly projections, and then the prices. Pretty crazy to see kind of two, you know, pretty significant values at the top here with Philly and New Orleans. The Taysom Hill New Orleans has just been so crazy, and not even like good football crazy, but fantasy points crazy in the 2 weeks he started.
Yeah, and it sure, it felt gimmicky if you watched the game or, you know, watch Red Zone like the rest of America, but you saw those highlights from that game where Taysom didn't do anything. Alvin Kamara didn't have anything through that first half. Second half kind of just picked up. Kamara gets his touchdown, and then Taysom, obviously, I think he had one early, but he broke that 40-yard touchdown or so, and then it turns into, oh, this is now a great fantasy day. And so it feels a little wonky and stuff, but that's his game. And I
was about to say that happens every time he plays. He's going to throw multiple interceptions and also run for nearly 100 yards and run one in the end zone. Yeah. Shout out to my season-long quarterback, Taysom Hill, going to lead me to the promised land. Shows where my team is at. But anyways, I'm rolling with him.
So I'm impressed TJ's still paying attention to his fantasy team. I know in the league that I'm in with him, he hasn't touched that. It just says inactive all over his entire account.
Yeah.
I have not looked at that one.
So, Justin, Tampa Bay, you know, they've got that well-deserved reputation being good against the run. Does that extend to running quarterbacks as well?
That's interesting.
I don't know the answer. Well, I might have to do some research on that.
Yeah. So, okay, let me at least talk to my thought process. Normally, when I think of running quarterbacks, I want to match them against teams that primarily play man coverage. Reason being, when you're playing man coverage, you're chasing your guy and your back is turned to the quarterback. This allows the quarterback room to kind of run and find, openings and kind of just let go. When you have a team that plays like the old, Tampa to the cover two, well, that's not as great for a running quarterback because you've got kind of, not even spotlighted, but you've just got people watching the quarterback the entire time. He's not going to be as willing to kind of go out, and when he does, he maybe gets the 7 yards. I'm not too sure. I know Tampa, the reason why their run D is so great is just because of that front line, that front seven, and just inability to kind of get through it. They do have speed around the edges. But I think the biggest challenge is going to be Tampa putting up a ton of points. Now, New Orleans defense is very good. I'm still just going to trust Tampa here. If Tampa puts up those points, does Taysom have to throw? In that most recent game, like New Orleans, they need to be in the game for Taysom to really get that kind of opportunity to get these runs and stuff. But if they're forcing him to throw, that's when it can get a little ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The other team we kind of highlight here is Philly, and they were off last week, but kind of a similar thing. Jalen Hurts has just been so dominant with his feet. I mean, they're running the ball 50 times a game,
and he should be back this week.
Yeah, well, they were on bye last week.
Yeah, right. And Gardner and Minshew was before that, but reports are that Hurts should be back this week.
Yeah, and so obviously, if Gardner plays, this will drop some. They're playing Washington, kind of terrible reputation to start the season has gotten a little bit better, but definitely think that, even given that, this is a valuable card. Interestingly, kind of both of these are probably a little bit less valuable for TOC than they would be in other formats, just given the passing touchdowns. So, any other teams worth mentioning here?
No, I like those. As you mentioned, because the touchdown and stuff, the 6 for 6. I think that if anything, though, the pendulum has gone too far and TOC is devaluing the running quarterbacks more than they should be. And the thing is, they still have the upside, because when you have a quarterback who can still throw for 250 and 2 or 250 and 3, but also have that 50, 70, Taysom got up to 101 the other week rushing yards. like that's value that you're not going to find elsewhere. And it's not priced into their, Tom Brady kind of QB price.
Yeah. Makes sense. All right. We'll switch to running backs. We obviously need to kind of evaluate the Cleveland injury and COVID situation here, but didn't spend a lot of time on that given we're going to know their outcome prior to the Sunday games.
I'd caution on Arizona too. James Conner going in for an MRI. Chase Edmonds was not back last week, but we think might come back this week. DeAndre Hopkins also now going to be week to week. This team might be a little fragile this week, and I wouldn't have to. I'd be a little hesitant to want to play any Arizona card this week.
Yeah, does James Conner matter? I mean, he's been a touchdown scoring machine, but most of those are short, kind of spread offense, running back handoffs.
He leads the league in one-handed catches. Have you watched James Conner? It's amazing. Like, he doesn't know he has a second hand, and he's always sideways as the ball is going over his head, and his arm goes up, and it always catches it. It's impressive. Plus, his number, I think, is 4, or I don't think it's 6. It's 4 or 6, but it's like a single digit. He's one of those running backs, like the Leonard Fournette style, wearing these single numbers. It's really interesting to watch. But does it matter?
The single-digit running back drives me nuts. I hate seeing Leonard Fournette up there. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be number 7. It shouldn't be allowed.
The rules have changed. But
I don't even like wide receivers with single digits, let alone running back. Come on.
But does it change if James Conner's out? I think it does, primarily because, 2 reasons here. One is we're not sure Chase Edmonds' health. So if he's also not fully healthy, I don't believe they're going to run, Benjamin 20 times. So I think that hurts the running game here. 2, they don't like using Chase Edmonds in the red zone. So if Conner's out, I think that hurts the running back's touchdown expectation and probably increases it for Kyler with regards to a rushing or needing to pass more often in the red zone.
Yeah. I think to me, like Washington kind of stands out a little bit here. Now, like the question is, can they keep it close from a, game flow against Philly? But, Antonio Gibson has been good and still just like not even super positive touchdown regression so far this year. So I think if he gets a couple of those to go his way, that could be interesting. The Los Angeles Goats, I think, is the other one where kind of big favorites against Seattle, who has been terrible against the run this year. I think the big question there is just who is healthy for them, because that, there's a relatively big drop off from Darrell Henderson to Sony Michel and others on that team.
I like that one because I also like it for the rest of the season and playoffs. Just Goats running back, decent play.
Yeah, if we can get them both healthy, I think the rest of the season, Sony Michel is actually going to be the 1A. I was talking to a couple of the established run guys about this as well, and they're kind of in agreement that Sony will probably be that 1A the rest of the season, and then Darrell Henderson will probably take a bit more of the pass down work. But like I think Sony Michel proved himself. We know that the McVay and his staff haven't been head over heels for Henderson. Brought in Akers and such, and so. For TOC, I think the two of them healthy together is a great combination. For this specific game, I'm concerned because Seattle is just running record low number of plays. And so I don't think their Rams are going to have as need or as high opportunities as they normally do. Dallas. So Dallas is interesting at $40 for the rest of the season because they just haven't been healthy with Tony Pollard, being out and not Zeke missing time, but Zeke probably should have been missing time. It feels like he is. He was out touched by Corey Clement, I think it was last week. It's crazy. Just rest him. But I don't know. I think he's stubborn and he just wants to stay out there. So props to him. Cincinnati, you can tell how much you can tell the impact of them likely not making the playoffs and what it's had on the card, because that still is a fantastic card for the Joe Mixon and for the playoffs. I think their schedule is a little challenging, but you might be able to find a week or two. But I think that's just interesting that hey, if they would have won that San Francisco and been looking on the right side of the playoffs, I think that would be at least $10, $15, $20 more.
Yeah. And it's interesting that division is still very much up for grabs right now. Obviously, a lot of it will probably hinge on how quickly Lamar can get back to full health. But kind of a chance for most teams. Coop Steelers might be out of it. But all right, the Jets just pop in this projection every week, mostly because of the low price. But like they've been relatively effective as a scoring running back position, or wide receiver position, despite how bad they've been on the season.
But
I have to look every time and like make sure I didn't break something in the projections.
I think we need to pull out some splits though of with and without Zach Wilson. And I don't care about who the other quarterback is because it really doesn't matter. It can be anyone. It can be Mike White. It can be Flacco. Like it could probably be Trent Dilfer right now. But
Josh Johnson.
Seriously, anyone. Just not Zach Wilson. And it's just bad. Like I don't know. He's not able to sustain that offense, or at least not at this point in his career. So that's where I would just be hesitant to play them. And maybe someone in chat can kind of give us a quick, what are the wide receivers points with or without Zach Wilson games?
Yeah. And, certainly the 10-point underdog helps that projection just given how much they're going to have to throw. So, I think, the Minnesota wide receivers continue to be a very narrow funnel or a target funnel, but effective. It's a tough matchup this week though with Chicago.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings. That's such a strong card, but I think a reason why it's just so cheap right now is because again, they're on the outside looking in for the playoffs, but that's one that I would heavily consider playing, especially if they're not going to be high owned here. I think we're going to have Thielen and Jefferson back this week. So that'll be a strong plus. And I was looking, it is against Chicago, at Chicago. So not like the greatest matchup, but this isn't the same Chicago defense that we've seen like in previous years. But if they can win at Chicago, we then see them at almost, I think, a little under 50% to make the playoffs. So at Chicago win would put them at 43. Then they just got a tough schedule. Then the Rams, then Green Bay, and then they finished with Chicago again. So two Chicago's, LA Rams and Green Bay. Tough schedule, but keep an eye out for them because if they can sneak into the playoffs, that's a high-powered offense that could possibly win multiple games and give you some strong points.
Yeah. Lastly, Justin, any interest in the Thunder Horses this week? You talked earlier about Kansas City kind of shutting down their last few opponents, and we'll obviously know Thursday. But do you think that there's value in this card here?
Yeah, it's the highest scoring game, and they're projected to be slightly down and throwing most of the game. And Justin Herbert's been playing phenomenal. We're going to have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Jalen Guyton's now connected for deep balls. I think that 2 of the past 2 games. For touchdowns, so that offense feels like it is clicking. It is one of those challenging things too, though, where kind of historically the way to beat Kansas City is on the ground. So Eckler should have his chance to kind of run through them. But if this does turn into a shootout, which we've known can happen throughout Mahomes' career, and they have been putting up the points the last few weeks 2 of the last 3 weeks to do that. Sure, I love the card. If I'm going to take a stand, not that you really need to, I just think this game's a little lower scoring than we think. But hey, it could be lower scoring than we think and still finish the top 3 scoring game of the week just because of how we're looking at the rest of the games.
Yeah. All right, we'll hit on tight end and defense quickly so we can close out the rest of the show. Tight end continues to just be kind of ridiculous from a projection perspective. Cleveland, we got the cheap Austin Hooper tight end to keep them up there from a production perspective. Again, this is one of those where I don't know that Case Keenum actually hurts that much this week.
No Austin Hooper, no Harrison Bryant. So it's just David Njoku. But I think also no Jarvis Landry. So maybe Njoku ends up getting 7 targets in this game.
Yeah, and the best matchup in the league against tight ends.
Yeah. So I'd be hesitant. I think this 10.7 is a bit inflated because it assumes that you're going to have more than just, Njoku there. And this could just as easily end up being a low ball tight end score just from a horrible game environment. And Njoku just doesn't do much.
Yeah. But, again, we'll know on Sunday for the price. Definitely interesting to see it up there. San Francisco kind of creeping up on the season average. Probably should be inflated a little bit more just given how much they've used Kittle over the past couple of weeks, and assume that some of that continues. Any others stand out to you?
I'm kind of just looking right now at some of the lowest priced ones and thinking about even from a long-term perspective and like the tournaments that we're having next year, because Miami Gesicki, like that's going to be there for a while. Washington, Logan Thomas was signed to a multi-year deal, so him healthy is big. Denver, you still have Noah Fant, one of the best up-and-coming tight ends, and we're seeing
Alberto touchdown last week.
Yeah, we saw him get one as well. So
that was a sick touchdown too. Very athletic play for the big guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I think those are interesting. Just for them, just looking from a long-term perspective. From here, New England doesn't excite me that much against Indy. I think even Miami just from this, like that's too cheap for a card that has just as much of a chance as virtually any of the others here to finish as the number one tight end for the week.
Yeah. And to your point, kind of a young prospect at tight end for the future. All right, we'll touch quickly on the defense.
And they're playing the Jets. Okay, there you go. I'm calling it now. Miami tight end is a top 3 card this week.
Ooh, strong stance.
Oh, this projection is wrong, guys. I think I hard-coded that last week. And didn't update. So ignore that projection. Obviously, Detroit's defense is not projected to ever get 16. So we'll need to fix that one. But besides that hammer card, anything else that you guys are seeing, the New England card kind of priced pretty significantly. I think people were excited, Justin, after you were talking about their rest of season schedule and their week 17 matchup last week.
That's true. I mean, right, because if you're selling that card, you're not just losing them out this week, you're losing them for week 17, which is where it's the money. And I forgot, why did I love it for week 17?
They are playing the Jets, maybe?
I think that's correct. And who's playing the Jets this week?
Oh, man.
We just did this.
Miami. You're testing me. Miami.
Yeah.
Remember
I'm like pulling up a bunch of tabs, trying to check if it was actually the Jets in week 17.
And Miami's defense has come on strong. So they're the defense that if you can't get that 16-pointer from Detroit up there, Miami is actually my number 1 defense this week. So I'm calling it again. It is now Miami will finish. This one's a little more random, so it's harder. As a top 5. Now let's do it again. Miami will finish as a top 3 defense this week.
Also, we were wrong. It's New England's playing Jacksonville in week 17.
So
after all that, our connections just didn't even work.
Of course. Is Jacksonville even going to have a team or a coach by then? I don't know.
It's a legitimate. I think they will have a team. They will pay people to play football, whether they're coached or.
It'll probably be across the border. Yeah,
I don't think it will be in week 17. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the Bills defense obviously is kind of the class this week, class of the league. They're at the top of the projection by kind of a decent margin, 0.5 point with this spread. And I mean, like Carolina quarterback is either going to be Cam, who just cannot stop throwing the ball to the other team, or PJ Walker, who, was great in the XFL, but I mean, it's PJ Walker. Come on.
He was good in college too. I think he played with Matt Rule. So yeah. All right. What do we have?
There it is. I think that was everything.
It's not fair for Buffalo because Cam Newton's going to throw a pick 6, and like you just start the game off with like.
Is Cam even going to play? I thought they were talking about PJ starting now.
I mean, what they say starting. I think they're going to continue doing that kind of duel. Both of them getting playing time. I don't know. It's ugly. No one knows
really
what's going
on.
Cam Newton sold tickets.
Cam. Yeah. What a comeback story from Cam.
I'm back for one play.
What do you think? Do we want to look at some prize picks for tomorrow night, or do we want to
I think I'll
fire
move
some
that
in the Discord?
Yeah,
And then we
we'll
have
put some in the
Saturday's games
Discord
too,
because
so.
there's still so much unknowns, right? Not
Yeah,
so
that's
much
what I was
unknowns,
thinking.
but just question marks. Okay, whoa. Can we talk some prize picks from last week and what happened?
Ooh, yes, let's do it.
I'm excited.
Coop, you want to come on? I know you were you were loving this conversation too. It's okay. You can decide, Coop. I know you guys. Okay.
Yeah, there he is.
What's up?
The champ is here.
So this was fun because I know, Coop, you were kind of grinding along with this, but last week we had our parlay and we were talking through what do we do with the Alexander Madison situation because we didn't know what the Dalvin was, and we were saying if this Madison line, like if Dalvin plays, then that 16.2 projection or the 16.2 over under for Madison was way too high. And like Establish the Run had Madison at projected for 20, assuming Dalvin's out, but we thought there was a chance at Dalvin. Now we talked through it. We ended up getting it wrong, and we still went on the over for Madison, and we were like, no, Dalvin's not going to play. Next morning, 8 a.m. comes around, and we get word that Dalvin is going to play or is highly likely to play. There was about a half hour where that Madison line stayed up. And so you can bet that Madison line up to $5,000 in winnings on an individual player across like various bets until they take it off the board. I happened to find that out. But
classic Herzig.
We shared it in the Discord and stuff. And like, hey, these are the kind of opportunities. And like PrizePicks is a very profitable company, and they've definitely taken a lot of money and a lot of my money. So these are the opportunities that we have to get our edge back. And so we put it in the Discord. I know there were some people who were in the PrizePicks channel that tailed it too. I think Madison ended up getting like 2 points, so it wasn't even a sweat at all. Dalvin obviously had his absolutely huge game. The only sweat was Dalvin just going to eventually sit down, but no, dude's a beast.
He really is.
That was fun.
I think we generally nailed it, right? At the end of the day, we said Pittsburgh would probably get torched up by the run. Their defense just literally just couldn't stand up. I mean, they were on the field the entire first half. Dalvin was carving them up, and then Ben saved us in the second half and ultimately started throwing the ball around and made the game fun and close. So I think overall, from a thought process standpoint, I thought that was awesome that we pretty much had nailed it. If Madison plays, I mean, there's absolutely no doubt that he gets 16 fantasy points at the end of the day. I mean, I think I could have got 15 fantasy points against the Steelers defense that day. I mean, the holes were literally there. He had 30 yards before he was even touched in 4 or 5 different runs, it seemed like. So yeah, I think the thought process was there. And Justin was so sharp on the Dalvin 50-50 in the morning there, knowing to get some action on the under, just because if Dalvin even remotely played half the game, 17 fantasy points are being projected for almost the total of what we said would get, is just so sharp to get on the under there. So awesome that you ran it up and maxed it out.
I didn't win all that because I stacked with other stuff that I lost, so it's okay. But
you guys know so jealous that you get to play PrizePicks.
You guys know the Darren Ravel video where like he runs the 40-yard dash at like Nike or something?
Yeah, very familiar. Yes.
TJ Bach? No,
I don't think so.
You've never seen Ravel run the 40? There's I'm pretty sure there's multiple like overlays of like NFL players running the 40 and Ravel running it, and they like start it and run it like 3 times and the same time that he runs it once. It's pretty awesome.
Oh,
okay. Well, I'm gonna show it real quick because like just obviously we're gonna watch it real quick, and then I will make my comment. And this is quite the elaborate setup here for this.
Yeah, this joke better land.
Yeah. So here it is.
I have seen this. Jesus.
It's impressive. And, Darren Ravel's a good sport about it. And he's just impressed that his video has 8.7 million views. He says it has more than any other 40-yard dash ever. So props to him on that. But where we are going with this is Coop just said he could have got 15 points in that game. So at the live final, I think we at least need to record a 40-yard dash for Coop. Like,
wow.
We got to have I'll do 40 yard. I'll do a 40-yard dash. I'm in.
Over 5.5 seconds.
I
Coop can move. Coop's got nimble feet.
I can move for 40 yards. Now, if you want to go a little longer than that, I don't know if I certainly will be winded for 25 minutes, but I can move for 40 yards.
All right, over under 5.5 seconds.
Ooh. That I've
You got to take the under. You got to bet on your kids.
I'll definitely bet on myself.
Yeah, you got to give yourself the under.
I have no
Tom
idea.
Brady's 40-yard dash was 5.28.
Who's this?
Tom Brady.
Is this like TB12 diet or is this college?
This was combine. This was, I mean, if we need to show Tom Brady's combine picture.
He definitely doesn't look the same as he does now, that's for sure.
All right, let me share this one too.
Quality entertainment here from the Herzig bot. Love it.
Oh,
Show is devolving quickly.
What is happening right now?
This is the Tom Brady. This is how I imagine Tom Brady versus Coop, but no, that's actually Mac Jones. That's another. These are professional athletes.
I was going to say, are you saying that I look like Mac Jones? I think I would take that as a very serious compliment at the end.
That's best rookie quarterback this year. Would not have expected that one coming. All right, so now you all, for the first time, have motivation to qualify for the live final in Miami this week.
The first
it's
time
actually
you get to see Coop running.
for you all to actually start, putting your best lineups in, because now you know that you're going to get to watch Coop live run a 40-yard dash. Can he beat TB12? That's what we will find out.
Only 2 more weeks, 2 more winners to be crowned.
How much degenerate action will be on the over-under for my 40?
Yeah, I love it. We can get
about the same amount as Dale's push-up bet. I'm pretty sure we're gonna.
Should be fun. Should be fun.
All right, gents. Shall we call it?
I think we are formally off the rails, so time to wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Thanks everyone once again. If you made it this far, congratulations. We appreciate it. We will talk to everyone next week, and good luck in the contest. And remember, every purchase you make in the marketplace from now until Sunday morning, get your spot on the wheel, and we'll be giving away some sweet cards. So, all right. On behalf of Justin, Bach, and producer Coop, I'm TJ. We'll see you guys next time.